vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real war horse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian/African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tarh Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, fronting IG and people of Ambazonia's position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASC. Health is wealth, health education and awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation prayer and intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. Church and politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Imagination, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambertv.com/subscribe.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome. This night is another draft night for the federal government. And if there is one war that we as a people of this nation seeking for recognition and to gain our sovereignty must win, is the war that Biya launched against us in the month of November 2017. This, amongst many wars that we fought in our history, is one war we cannot lose. And the clarion call by the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia for all those who pledged or made pledges and who have donated some funds to redeem their federal draft this evening can never ever be overemphasized. The need for you to do that redemption today can never ever be overemphasized. Even as we speak, only one Bulu has been wasted and the Bulu clan has gone on rampage. There is an ongoing war between the Bulus and the Burmese in neighboring La République de Cameroon, and that is of interest to us because we have suffered a similar in the hands of the Bulus for decades. We want to look into that and also to look on some of the proxy forces at the home front, La République de Cameroon proxies like the ADF and whatever they are doing to our people. It's unfortunate I will not be having Barrister Tim Besea, who has an opinion on this subject. But then, luckily enough, I have the Secretary of State for Special Operations and Defense at the home front, that's Sylvester Zama, and Barrister Fru Johnson. They will be with us right after this break. I'm not sure if we have enough time again to enhance this discussion. before stakeholders join the Zoom meeting with the president. But as much as we can have, we will decode and discuss many things of great interest. Stay tuned. After the break, we'll be back with the discussion.
Our vision in this interim government is to make APC a leader and a real warhorse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian stroke African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tarh Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG and People of Ambazonia's position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASCE. Health is Wealth, Health Education and Awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation Prayer, an intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our Freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. Church and Politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Emerging Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambertv.com/subscribe.
Yeah, good evening, Barrister Fu. You're welcome. I'm sure Sylvester Zama, I want to believe that he's still there. You may want to put on your camera so we can commence the discussion. Good evening, Barrister Fu. You're welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Paddy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Amazing. I'm glad that you two opted to come. We started a discussion with IG Defense briefing earlier on, and we're going to link it with the pre-draft of tonight. But even before we start, I'd like you to lead the floor and to give should I say, a monologue of the need for this draft of today, Barrister Fu, please.
Yes, thank you, Paddy. We are at the last phase of this struggle. This is the winning phase of this struggle. We either make it or we are doomed. So today is the D-Day. For those of my comrades who drafted but have not redeemed their drafts, today is your day. Come and finish up what you owe the government, because you drafted and you pledge to pay. Secondly, those who have not drafted, this is your day also to draft and pay. We need this money because we want the lava to flow so that these occupiers, the enemy of our people, will be forced to withdraw to the boundaries as of to their boundaries as of independence, 1960. We will go after them. No question of self-defense anymore. We will go after them. We will go after their infrastructure, anything La Republique, offices, whatever installations they have on the Amazonian land. It's a legitimate target now, so that we can get them running. And if they so want to come to the negotiating table, we will receive them on the negotiating table on our terms. We will receive them, and there is only one topic: terms of separation. Nothing more, nothing less. We are no longer going after them to come for any kind of negotiation. What are we negotiating? All what we'll be negotiating with them at that table is the terms of separation. La Republique is now an enemy territory, an enemy to Amazonia, unless they can prove otherwise. How do they prove otherwise? Come to the table, we settle this conflict, and we can be good neighbors. Until then, you live by force. The lava will flow and flow abundantly, so that you can be swept to your boundary as of independence. I'm calling on all Amazonians, especially those who have drafted and have not redeemed all their money. Please, the Zoom link is already open. There are so many people now in the Zoom meeting. Join the Zoom meeting and liberate and give us what you still owe as your draft. And secondly, if you have not drafted for one reason or the other, today is your day. You can still draft today for the federal government, because we are closing the first phase of the federal government draft, and to enter the county draft, so that we raise more money for the counties to work in synergy with the federal government and get these occupiers out of our territory. I'm not telling you what you don't already know. The lava has started flowing, even though it's only about 20%, but we intend to take it higher and higher and make sure that the occupiers leave our territory. Please come and redeem your draft. Thank you very much.
The very fact that the lava is already flowing is an indication, even though at a debut, is an indication that the man who gave the promise knows exactly what to do. And I always like to take us back down to the very near history that we have. In 2018, when this same man took over office, unfortunately, when our leaders were kidnapped from Nera Hotel, he promised the nation during his first address, I'll call it a maiden address to the nation. President Sarkozy said, and I quote, "This is the era of self-defense." Less than 3 months later, we had more than 30,000 volunteers willingly picking up sticks, knives, some with their bare hands, to engage themselves in this movement. In fact, this is information that has gone down history. Cameroon, for the first time, knew that the people were serious. In fact, even their reports that have been reported with the spine, they said close to 15,000. But we know the number was more. And the ASC at the time was jeopardized. And we know the same architects are the same one trying to do it today, though they keep diversifying and changing their tactics. I'm getting to you with this very relevant and important question, SOS Zama. When you listen to this old man sitting in front of us, I would say it's a gift to us talking, and you feel like I feel that perhaps his youth should be rekindled. And he's saying, we're not going to beg La Republique de Cameroon. We're going to put them out if they are not living peacefully. Maybe now that you are the man in charge and in action, you would want to comment on that. Or perhaps you want to tell Amazonians that are willing to contribute tonight that you are unable to push Cameroon. If we are able, how do you think we can do that? And what does it entail?
I think what we've done, we've already had all the mechanisms for this war to be resisted. Just the mere fact that we resisted without any arms, we resisted without throwing a stone at them. It's a major coup de force when it comes to dealing with African tyrants. It's not something that they expected. It's not it is psychologically. They thought they had molested us well enough that we were going to suffer from the Stockholm syndrome. We were going to like them for maltreating us. He was so wrong, and he's learning that 7 years down the road that he was so wrong. Um, we can fight this fight with just the mere fact that we've decided to die. Some of our soldiers have decided that this is their own sacrifice for them to die for the better future of Amazonia. The draft is our own part. For those of us who are in the diaspora, it's our own part that we are playing and pledging and putting our own souls and our own finances in the place of our bodies in front of those bullets. The young men are they're confronting the barbarians as much as they can, but they need our assistance. They had called for our assistance 7 years ago. Their house was burning. They needed us. So we are here, and we are asking for those people who are onlookers to go get their own bucket of water and douse the fire. And this is the time to actually douse that fire. We've had it for 7 years. Every fire eventually goes out. It's eventually extinguished. But uh, the rate at which we are trying to extinguish this fire is a little bit slower, but we will get there. We are asking everybody to precipitate that extinction by contributing to this fight and by doing all we can do to help our citizens back home on the home front. Uh, uh, Barrister So has put it succinctly. We are not going to beg the enemy. The enemy is never going to be accepting to come to a negotiation. We have to break their knees to come to the negotiation table by getting them to get their people to revolt against them, and that's what we are doing by killing as many soldiers that come to the field as much as possible. Our soldiers have been doing a tremendous job, and just the material loss for La Republique. I wonder how long it's going to take for them to come to think that this war is just going to not have any consequence to their economy over time. Every country that has fought a war of this nature has gone back developmentally 20, 30 years back. And it's getting to that point. Everything is geared in this war to subdue us and to defeat us in battle, to fulfill the prophecy of Senator Weber. But they forgot the other portion of that equation. He said they may bring even the French army and they will not be able to defeat us. But it's going to cost them something even if they lose. And that's where we are. We have that surprise factor, which is they didn't know that we had this amount of diasporans. That is a force to be contended with, and we are asking those people. All of us are people, all of our citizens in Amazonia. We are asking all our citizens in the diaspora to be able to come up to help this cause, because it's a valid cause. It's a cause. It's a situation of between good and evil, and it's quite evil because genocide is an evil. It's an evil that we've pledged all our lives since Rwanda for this not to happen again, but it's happening, and we are not going to be waiting for anybody to come and help us. Once you're out of a burning house, you start checking who is inside that burning house to take that person out. You don't wait for another stranger to come 10 miles after to find out if there's somebody in the house. We have to help our citizens. The house is on fire. We have to extinguish it, and that time is now. You have to carry a bucket of water, which is metaphorically your wallet, to this fight. And we are expecting you to do the best you can tonight. Thank you.
That was quite amazing. That never mind. Just multitasking to make sure that the chief of staff will be joining this panel in a few minutes to add some feminine energy into this discussion, and I think that is quite important. But even before she joins us, I want us to suspend for a brief second the draft and get into a discussion that could be of some interest. We have seen the Bulus going on rampage. Fortunately, you brought that during the Friends briefing earlier on. The Bulus have gone on rampage for nothing else because one Bulu was unfortunately killed. I'm not saying the life of an individual is not important. The life of one individual, even before God, is as important as the lives of millions. But the Bulus have gone on rampage because a Fumban, a Bami, attacked and killed, as it is alleged, because there could just be some conspiracy in it. And the Bulus have gone on rampage. Even as we speak right now, there are chances that the Republic of Cameroon will be facing xenophobia between the Bulu and the Burmese for a long time. Prior to this time, there's an artist, there's a La République du Cameroon musician that I love a lot. It's a lady. She did a song and was supposed to perform in Yaoundé. And because she's suddenly becoming the best in French Cameroon, the Bulus do not find it funny because they thought that they were the senior class or the first class or the privileged citizens, and a Bikutsi was supposed to remain on top forever. The first Bikutsi in every minds, even in our minds. We grew up to be told that Mbagalum is of no importance. Our Njam, our cultures, Moninki, Nyangpe, they are not important. The Bulus taught us, even in school, that French is better than English, that their cultures were better than ours. And today, they would have to react because an individual, they will react with such veracity and aggression because a single individual has been attacked. Barrister Fru, you surely are boiling to say something. And what is the
Yes,
lesson
I've done
that
my
we
own.
Amazonians should learn from this character?
Yes, Paddy, I've done my own findings. There was no physical killing. This matter in Sang Malima has been going on for 2 years. This is a man, a betting man who took credit from a businessman of the Bamum extraction. And this man made several trips to ask for his money. He could not be given his money. And he said, okay, chop that money and you will see. So this guy fell sick, and the Bulus suddenly think that it is the Bamu man who is the cause of his problems, and he finally died. And when he died, the Bulus took their sticks and all whatever they can find. They entered the street all over. They went to the market, destroyed all the Bamileke and Bamum businesses. They destroyed everything. La Republique is facing a very serious crisis. That is not our problem, because they have done it to us. They have killed more than 65 of our people using the arms, using the money that our tax money has made it possible for them to buy weapons and come after us. And Bia, a Bulu man, was bold enough to stand at the airport and declare war against Ambazonia. And that war has been on for 7 years. They will have a war that will be worse than ours. We will not stand by and allow them drag us into their quagmire. That is why this draft today, and the subsequent drafts that are coming for the counties and the LGAs are so important to the finishing of this war, because they will be fighting wars from several fronts. San Malima today is a desert land because of tribalism. And that is why when I went on on the ethics commission forum on your TV set, Paddy, I did say tribalism. You cannot be a patriot and tribalist at the same time. Tribalism is a cankerworm that we must stamp. And secondly, we must face corruption. Corruption is, there will be no tolerance on anybody who is involved in corruption in the new Ambazonian government that we are going to establish. Having said that, we should know that La République du Cameroon is finished. We have to take this year and finish and make sure that they don't cross the Mongo. They don't cross Matazem. They don't cross the Tombe Bridge. We will go after them one by one. Every installation, military or civilian or governmental, whatever is in our territory, will have to be a legitimate target. I'm expecting SOS Zama to listen to what I'm saying. We are no longer in a defensive posture. It's time for us to now go after the occupier and get them out of our territory. And what is happening in San Malima is going to happen everywhere in La République du Cameroon. Imagine the Bamileke people whom the Northeast government. Of course, there was no Northeast government because Ahijo was at least he made a government for all of La République. The only people excluded from Ahijo's government was us. What did they do? They tried to eliminate all the Bamilekes, and that is why the Bamilekes have become what they have become today. I have never seen a set of people who finance a country and they cannot control the politics of that country. But that is their problem. They will not drag us into their mess. We refuse to be part of xenophobic activities of La République du Cameroon. Because, God willing, Ambazonia is going to be ruled. Ambazonia is going to be a showpiece in the West Africa for Africans to emulate. And I'm saying this, I may not be there, but you young people, you have to be serious. That's why I'm saying that come and finish your draft. And if you have not drafted, draft now and pay. Because this year, we have to drive these people out of our territory.
It is very important. Linking that to what Barrister Fru is saying there, Sylvester Zama, there is this press. He's pressing on an agenda. I can see the chief of staff is there. Please, I'd like to see her beautiful face on the screen so that she can make her contribution. She has a lot of work this evening, and I'm made to understand that she would like to be brief with us. But let us see her face soon. Thank God that I can now see it. Now, Sylvester, I'd like you to talk a little bit briefly so we can give the chief of staff a platform to make her contribution in relation to tonight's draft. Talk to us real quickly. This idea of us escalating from just being self-defenders or defending our homeland and possibly going on the offensive. What is the need? What's the intricacy of it?
Well, war is just that, war. Sometimes you're on the offensive, sometimes you're on defensive. It's a mixture of both. It depends the circumstances. We've not been able to control them coming through the border as of yet, but they are not coming in wantonly like they did before. They are coming in. They are worried if they're gonna die. They are worried if they're gonna be ambushed. That's the beginning of wisdom. Once they start developing that wisdom, that's when they learn. The problem in East Cameroon is their problem, like Barrister so said. It's their problem. And I think that we cannot be drawn into sectarian killing. We have tried to avoid that because since this war started, we've not killed a single Francophone in Amazonia. There are many of
Yeah.
them in our area. Nobody's made an outright decision to go after them, even though sometimes some of them are known to support the enemy. For those situations, we will attack them just like intelligent officers of the enemy camp. On the other hand, uh, La Republique has always been built, it has been a mirage of a cat, a house built on cards. And Mr. Pobia has made it his duty to maintain himself in power for 40 odd years by pitting one tribe after the other, pitting one brother against the other. It's a situation of succession that's gonna go awry because so many people want to take over Paul Biya's position now. Paul Biya wants to put his son like they do in Central Africa, but the people are not gonna accept that because Cameroon is so very, very different from a lot of the other countries, a lot of the other toy countries that the French have been playing with. If they do, because no one ever can tell what the French mentality, the Francophone mentality is. But this for sure we know. If they want to continue fighting against the Bamini case, it's going to be an outright slaughter because the Bamini case have learned that the last time they did not react. They were defensive. This time they have a lot of influence. They've traveled a lot. They have a lot of money. They can buy arms. That is not going to be a walk in the park for the Bulus. The Bulus may have the state apparatus with them, but at the end of the day, they are not a large constituency. They don't have natural brothers and sisters. Apart from the Bulus, the Fang, the Betis, and amongst them, they still have their own differences. It's something. I think it's a night. A good movie to sit back and watch. I think this is one time that we can take a day off and watch them dance.
Yeah, I agree with you a lot because there's a farm axis where you get to Equatorial Guinea and Bitam into Gabon, and there was also a kind of relationship with the Sangos in from Bozize, which they have lost. I'm sure we're getting this reaction from Dr. Yaya. She's trying to control more than one or two devices. Dr. Yaya, this is the time for you to speak, and you cannot even leave now. It brings us to one thing. I may just want to mute. Please, no co-host in the Zoom should unmute so that we do not interfere this production. Dr. Yaya, you want to talk to us about the federal draft? You are on top of it all tonight as chief of staff of the interim government, and so much is happening in La Republic. It's of interest to us. It's not our business, but it's an advantage for us because there is a distraction in the camp of the enemy, and this is a time when Amazonians should gain momentum. It's a time when Amazonians should be united on one thing, kicking the enemy out at the home front and take advantage of their weaknesses. And today is very important. How important is this day to you as chief of staff and to this government and to our nation?
Thank you, Dr. Paddy, to have me on the show, on the pre-draft redemption show, a very, very important one. And it's an honor to be here in company of our great gentlemen, men of honor, I call them. Uh, I'm quite humbled to be in your midst, and thank you for all the great work you've been doing for Amazonia. And great show, great program today so far. Yes, I'm just coming to add my voice, of course, to that of the president and the resource mobilization team and all those who've been working so hard behind the scenes to make sure that this redemption is a huge success. As we know in business, you put money to get money. In other words, in our context, we need to put in the money in order to get results. We keep hearing a few comrades or people asking, "Oh, what can we show for? What can this government show for so far?" or something like that. I'm sure some of those questions are meant to just tease the leadership to actually divulge, the strategies that we have ahead of us. But of course, that's not something for public consumption. What I'll say is put in your money and you will see the results. We started seeing, for those who are vigilant, hearing noises from a few places that were quiet. We've got our Secretary of State here, and who can talk more about that. So I'm just here to remind everybody and add my voice to say that it is very, very important for the diaspora to do their own part. We've said this severally. Our people back home are sacrificing with their lives. All we can do here is sit comfortably, dress well. We all look good. Look at us. They don't have that leisure. They don't have that pleasure. So all that's being asked of us is a little bit of discomfort to push us to the point of sacrificing a bit more to make sure that we get our homeland soon enough, because we don't want to stretch this game. And we're very optimistic. We're very, very positive. We don't come here sounding desperate. Whilst we try to reach out to as many people, we know that Boya is a certainty. It is undisputable. So for those who are doubting whether they're putting their money in the real place, that is a great investment to put your money in. You want to be known in, you want to go down in the good books of history. We heard some talks from distractors talking about ID cards and things like that. To me, this is the best ID card you can have. We have heard from the resource mobilization team and National Treasury that award certificates will be handed to those who have completed their draft. Of course, this exercise is not going to happen today, but it's going to happen in the subsequent visits of the president to the various counties. To me, it's an honorable thing. That's my best ID card that I can have, to show that I took part in this honorable cause to free a people, to free my homeland. It is not just a piece of paper that some people want to use as a money-making extortion trick. Because my award certificate actually means that I put in the money, and why not even more? So I just want to encourage everybody that this is, we read books and we see names of great men and women engraved, in stone or in writings or in history books. This is what we are doing right now. We're actually writing history by paying our drafts, getting our certificates, going down in the Amazonian Book of Fame. I don't know if there's anything better than that. So please, let's honor the lives of our heroes whose lives have been cut short, for our freedom, by just paying this money. It is not easy, and I'm not underestimating the fact that times are hard. But please, we must get through some discomfort in order to achieve what we have ahead of us. So that's just my plea, and I think. We heard some good figures there from the resource mobilization. Am I still connected?
You're very well connected, please.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So just encouraging everybody, and for those who cannot complete, make the effort to actually complete your draft. The intention here is that we'll be moving to the next phase of the draft, which is the county draft. We remember when this new strategy was brought in, because some of us didn't understand it well. People thought the federal draft is coming to replace the county draft. That's not the case. We have different arms or tiers of the government. We want to empower all different arms. And so after this first phase of the federal draft, we will move on to the county drafts, which will start in July. Before then, the president and his entourage is going to be visiting all the counties, and that's where the certificates will be awarded. This is an honorable thing for all those who are attending graduations at the moment. I think this is bigger than that. So please do your best. If you cannot complete it today, make sure you at least increase it. Make sure you reduce the debt. So by the time your county is drafting, you don't have any debt. That's the whole intention of this. So I want to thank you all, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure watching you. Ambazonia is just made of great people. I cannot wait to be part of this nation. I pray God keeps us all to see this wonderful nation that will be the envy of the world. Thank you, Dr. Paddy.
Yeah, I know you want to leave, Dr. Yaya. Gentlemen, I'm pleading with you. Give me again about another 5 minutes. I want to squeeze as much
Oh,
as we can get from this beautiful lady. First of all, I want to congratulate you, Madam Chief of Staff, for the first in history You will be coordinating two machines, and your sound is so wonderful. We're not having your image is not, there's no
I
problem.
tried.
There's great
I'm
improvement in
actually
this technology.
standing with a stiff hand in front of me.
Yes, so I want
Thank
to say
you.
congratulations for that. And you're so beautifully dressed this afternoon.
Thank you.
What are your expectations based on the groundwork? What are you expecting from the authorities, from the counties, the zones? What have you done so far? You may be speaking on behalf of even resource mobilization. Why not? You are the chief of staff, and I'm sure you must have liaised with them. So talk to Ambazonians. What are the expectations this evening? Give us a
Right.
more hint on the significance of this. I will call it the federal government award, or touring the counties to give you an award. The certificates this year will be a very special one. So talk to us, Madam Chief of Staff. It's important in that light.
Thank you, Dr. Paddy. Before we go to the tour, the county tours by the president, I would like to talk about the expectations today. Today is the federal draft redemption day, and I hope I'm talking. I hope I'm not going to misquote Nijo, but I'm trying to follow what he's been explaining to us, because his department is in charge of this in liaison with the national treasury. So what is expected of us today is for the all, because we have already had the three zones actually hosting the federal draft, and that's why it's called the redemption day. So today is not the active drafting. However, those who haven't drafted till now, if this is your first time, we always welcome. We always need the money, so there are no fixed rules, written on stone. And for those who pledged and have not completed their pledges, we are expected that they have done so in the last few days, or even now during the draft, that can still go on. So we expect all chairs and the finance teams, which includes their treasurers and finance secretaries, to be able to give us an update of the redemption status of their counties. So to be able to say maybe 20% or 50% or 100% have actually redeemed their their federal draft. So that's what is expected of the chairs and the finance teams of every county. Now, moving to your question, uh, and we heard some really good feedback in the last preparatory meeting where Secretary of State for Resource Mobilization and Finance and Resource Mobilization, Nijo, he said the overall redemption is actually above 60% or thereabouts. So that's not a bad figure to start with. But why not get it to 100%? Those who lose their lives, they don't lose 50%, they don't lose 10%, they lose all of their lives and a generation that follows them. So please let us make the effort to get there, and for everybody to actually honor their pledges by the end of this day. Now, moving forward to the county tours, it is also the intent of the government, of the president, to get to know, to connect with the counties. Remember, we have this interim government which distinguishes itself from any other group in its structure, because it is fully structured as a government that it is actually. So we have the central government and we have the I could say the extended executive, so to say, which encompasses the LGAs and the counties. And we always boast of this bottom top and top bottom, structure. So it's not only, we don't only talk through Zoom meetings, we don't only talk through policies or strategies. It is also important for the president to reach out to the grassroots and actually make sure that he's in touch with all that is happening, so that we really work in sync and we actually mean what we say when we say that this is a solid solid government that is based on a structure that is broad based. So that's one of the purposes, to get to know our LGA leadership, get to understand the intricacies of all the problems that they face, and also proposing solutions or arenas where there can be collaboration or joint projects from the joint federal and county LGA projects. And in another way, the intention is to encourage everybody, to get prepared for the county drafts that will be starting in July, and above all, to actually give the award certificates, which to me is a very, very honorable document to have on your wall. So I hope that answers. So thank you. I'm just pleading with everybody. Make sure you get people to come in the Zoom. Let us populate the place so that we start in the next maybe 30 minutes. That would be great.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Chief of Staff. You have the right to leave now and continue your diligent work you're doing for the nation of Amazonia. Gentlemen, we're back into the hard talk. Why they're going to coordinate and warm the fireplace. I think there's something we've been able to put together, this misunderstanding about what the federal draft is all about. And, you know, this whole misunderstanding about the federal draft. I think it's incumbent upon us to make a clarification. Unfortunately, the chief of staff has done a great job, but there is something that which I think we should really get to know exactly where we're coming from and where we are today. And that has been encapsulated in an editorial. Right after that editorial will last just for 7 minutes. We'll come to get into the last phase of this discussion with these people, and we will move into the Zoom to listen to the president. In fact, we'll stop the broadcast on all the social media platforms, and we'll only return when the president will be addressing the nation. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
In our editorial of tonight, we'll look at why the federal government draft is superlatively imperative. The interim government during the start of this year of acceleration told the nation of Amazonia that this is the winning phase and that was the code for the new strategy. This year, unlike in the past, the interim government thought that the draft initiative should be done slightly different. The federal government draft was introduced, and one would like to ask, what was or is the rationale behind this whole idea? That's what we seek to do, but first of all, it is incumbent upon us to walk you through where it all started and where we are today. The federal government draft during its debut on Saturday, February 25th, saw the Savannah launching with a wavering support from all the other zones and counties, possibly because of a misunderstanding of the concept. But by the time the interim government was being hosted by the Midland and the Atlantic zones, the concept would have been clear to many, as that gained ascendance in the hearts of many more stakeholders and donors. In the long and short of the concept behind the federal government draft, the new idea is aimed to mobilize and to centralize resources so as to minimize proliferation within the very diversified efforts of shared governance of the Amber Peace Plan. From our observation, we do understand that some may wish to sell the opinion that the federal government is trying to concentrate power or establish control. Contrary to this assumptive rhetoric from a few that might have caused disbelief or dragging feet, the federal government draft has proven within the past 3 months to be a tremendous enhancement of the Amber Peace Plan that was badly punctured by coup plotters. Now, with a very strict objective to harness and executive federal government's feasible projects, revamp and re-strategize the troops across the entire national territory, we have seen a remarkable redoubling of firepower on the home front thus far. Prior to this time, the well-focused interim government had started dismantling the Franco-Cameroon hegemony through the creation of local government areas, 61 local government areas in 13 counties, then zoning off the entire territory as follows: the Savannah Zone, comprising Boyo, Dongamatung, Menchum, Buyi and Ngoketunja counties, the Midland Zone comprising of Mezam, Momo, Lebialem, and Manu counties, and the Atlantic Zone made up of Kupema Nenguba, Meme, Ndian, and Fako counties. We all know the achievements before the unfortunate sponsored coup. Let's take a look again on the very essence of the draft. What Don Wannabe, the Lord of the Realms, calls the Amber War Draft Manifesto. The Amber War Draft is the citizens' contract, the patriots' pledge, the fighters' covenant, the victims' appeal, and the people's mandate to defend the statehood of Amazonia with any and every weapon of consequence against the expansionist and occupationist regime of French Cameroons. The Amber War Draft is a sacred nationhood survival ritual besides other signature revolutionary programs and slogans initiated by the leadership of President Samuel Sako of the interim government of Amazonia. Amongst other things, the Amber War Draft is a national bond to furnish the Amazonian liberation struggle with all the material requirements and necessities by way of responsibility sharing. 1. The Amber War Draft is Amazonia's liberation contract between the people and their political destiny. 2. It's the patriots' sacred vow undertaken to free Amazonia of all forms of unjust, illegitimate, and illegal occupation. 3. It is a solemn confession to end the state of political annexation and subjugation in the Cameroons. 4. It's a commitment by citizens and households to engage in the process of self-rule and independence. 5. The Amber War Draft is a mandate to fulfill the wishes and aspirations of the people of Amazonia in their determination to re-establish their statehood. 6. It's one of the symbols of collective sacrifice aimed towards the protection of the Commonwealth and cultural heritage of the joint political estate of the former British Southern Cameroons. 7. The Amber War Draft is a political ritual for nationhood survival, identity evolution, and consciousness revival. 8. It is a patriot's pledge to undo enemy decrees of tyranny and oppression in Amazonia. 9. It is a fighter's covenant to pay the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. 10. It's an expression of legitimacy symbolized in the mandate to deploy all lawful and acceptable means to liberate the people. 11. It's the occasion to share with the people suffering and misery. 12. Is the moment to covenant oneself with the fighter's sacrifices. 13. It's one of the revolutionary keys and passwords to the realm of the Supreme National Order of Honors. 14. It's a call to arms to all able and willing Amazonians to engage the common enemy with every available means. 15. It is the victim's appeal to the conscience of humanity. 16. The Amber War Draft is a war cry for sons and daughters of Amazonia. 17. It is a testament to the people's faith and backing of the interim government. 18. It's the absolute and final resolve by a people to join the civilized league of free-thinking societies. 19. The Amber War Draft is a shoulder-to-shoulder, hand-to-hand brotherhood of burden sharing for humanity. 20. It's a justice motto and freedom slogan for Amazonians. 21. It's a delicate war tradition to unleash the righteous power of victory against ordinances of servitude. 22. The War Draft is a competence and capacity building platform to enhance forces of self-defense. On this most sensitive occasion each year, the leadership of Amazonia rallies all sons and daughters on the strength of a special message under the war jingle to prepare in body and spirit to be one with the restoration fighters at the home front. The people attend their duties, fulfilling wartime obligations with pledges of material values and bridges of human endeavors. The ritual begins and ends with one article, which is the political survival and defense of Amazonia as an independent English-speaking nation. What's more to say? Draft and draft and draft until we drop, like the president said. Well, with that, we've come to the end of this article and the end of our editorial for tonight. If you want more of such article, kindly visit our website at www.abcambertv.com for more. Subscribe, become a club member, and a part of this winning strategy. Find our payment details on your screen. I am reporting for Undaunted ABC Amber TV.
Thank you very much. Yes, during such a time when there are many voices speaking, even within our ranks, and there's a lot of confusion, it's important for us to remind ourselves on the need for the draft. I'll start with you, Barrister Flo.
The need for the draft. The editorial that has just been presented, very eloquently presented to us by the anchor lady, is very telling. This draft, this system of drafting, is our own way of saying to those our young men and women on the ground that while you are giving your life, we are also giving our livelihood to help you defend the homeland. And there is no other way of saying it other than that. Anybody living in this diaspora, when I mean the diaspora, I mean all of Europe, all of America, all of Asia, all of China, all of South and North and South America, Canada, and so on and so forth. Wherever you find Amazonians, this is your time to participate in the liberation struggle of our country. Our young men and women on the home front have given up their lives to fight. It is only morally correct for us to ensure that they have what it takes to fight. And that is why it is an obligation. When they said draft, it's an obligation. We are not begging. We are saying you participate in the liberation struggle. And I can tell you that Amazonians have already shown that they can participate. The draft has been very successful for the last 3 years. And this is the year that is very crucial. The federal government has entered the dance because we have seen lapses in the counties and LGAs. We have seen it very clearly. I'm not going to go any further than my own county and the county next to me, Momo, which on the books drafted a lot of money. And in reality, SOS Zama has time to be corrected. We're not saying any firepower that is worth the amount of money that we drafted in Mezam. We're not saying it more, especially in Momo, and more especially in Mogamo, where a lot of money was supposed to have been drafted, and we're not seeing it. So the federal government is coming in to energize and work in synergy with this government, with these tiers of government structures, so that we can together bring about the liberation of our homeland. And like I said before, let the lavas flow so that these people can be pushed to their boundary as of independence. I know SOS Zama will not give out any kind of secrets, but I as a civilian, I'm saying the time has come this year. This is the time for us to push them out.
You're free to talk, sir. You have the right to air your mind. It is your human right, and nobody should stop that from you.
Yes, there is. This year we must push them out of our territory. Make sure that their structures are not standing in our territory, so that we can be liberated and take over our country and manage it the way we want. It is our country. It was given to us by the United Nations General Assembly of the 21st of April 1961, and we cannot falter. SOS Zama. I know you cannot give military secrets, but that is my way of talking it. That's my way of saying it. I am not saying that self-defense is over. No, you cannot fight a war without also defending yourself. But we should accelerate. The president launched it, the year of acceleration. What does that mean? Accelerate and get the occupiers out of our territory. I take this opportunity to pay special homage to P. Marshal Sagon and to Major General Tokandu of both Ngokutunja and Bui. And I am calling on the other generals to stand up and be counted. Thank you very much.
SOS Ama, you've heard uh, uh, Barrister Fro very well. Well, before we tilt, we're going to tilt very briefly to look at what is happening on the ground, especially with those who are purportedly representing us. But before that tilt, now that the interim government has taken up the mandate, in the words of the central government, the objective is to mobilize, centralize, revamped, strategize to make sure that every other place in Amazonia that is seemingly cold should be awakened. Well, we saw that in the county, from the county of the Secretary for Education, Professor Epote, and she was very excited on that day because it's been a while, nothing happened. And I know that was a federal draft. And she wanted us to carry it on the news. And we did carry it. You've seen what is happening. Are you, because you are the interim government, seated here now? We are civilians. Barrister Fu and I were civilians. Are you people up to the task? That's the question.
I think I'll still go back to the point of saying that Amazonians are up to the task. Amazonians have been facing these bootlets with their bare chest. We have more people willing to stand up to the enemy than we can provide arms to. So all the contributions that we get here, we have more people to send into the field. We have more people to stand up against the enemy. Until that time where we have a maximum participation of anybody who is willing to fight can be handed a weapon, then we will have to start to see how these things change. But even not with that standing, we are still giving the enemy a good run for their dollar. We are destroying their equipment. We are destroying their people. We are destroying their morale. And the cost to the state of La Republique is going to be insurmountable. They will have to owe the Chinese and all the other people they're owing. I think they have about $700 billion right now that they have outstanding debt. By the end of this war, there will be a little bit over a trillion that they will be owing people because of this war. It's a fight that they've lost, they will lose, and we are just making them to come to the realization that it's not something that they should have declared to start with. Going back to what Barrister Fru was saying, yes, they will go back to their barracks. And this war, the state of Amazonia, or the nation we call Amazonia, was not given to us by the United Nations. We were there before they came. We were there before the white man came. They tried to discover everything that had been discovered before. But we are there. We are not going anywhere, and nobody is going to come take us from our land. We fought the Germans before. We fought the English. We fought all people who were coming into the hinterland and all whatnot. We fought Zengra. La Republique is just another incarnation of people we don't want, and they will go too. And if you want me, I could quote a little bit of Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc had told the English who were coming over and fighting the French when she was a saintly soldier. She had told them, I said, hey, we are asking the English to go back, the Britons to go back to their boundaries. Otherwise, they know one thing for certain, they'll go back in body bags. And we are going to make sure that happens to La Republique people. If they continue coming, we're going to increase the body bags. It's just mathematically what's going on in the field. The more untrained soldiers that they send to the field, the sooner they die. And as I said earlier, the majority of the French soldiers, Francophone La Republique soldiers, are basically less than a year or 2 years in the force right now. They are in a meat grinder when they come to Amazonia. They have their little toy match cars. They call it armored car. These things get shredded like a mower going through grass. We will continue, and if they come, we will confront them. If we have to chase them, we will do that. As it is right now, our primary objective is to protect our people. protect our citizens. Sometimes we have preemptive, offensive things that we do, yes, but those things we do it as logistics and military rationale can be justified. Until then, our primary focus is to protect the citizens of Amazonia, and your help today with your contributions, it takes our 5 million franc for a 10 or 15 minutes gun battle with the enemy. The enemy has large pockets. The enemy has for supporters. So we have to keep coming back and forth every time to ask for your continuous contribution for this war. Yes, the war is on a daily basis. Until that time comes, you cannot rest. We cannot rest in the diaspora because this war is continuous. It's affecting every little corner of the Amazonia. Every community has been affected. We know everybody knows somebody who's been killed in this war. So it's not something that we can pretend and plant our head in the sand that it's not happening. Yes, it's happening, and it's happening on a daily basis. And our soldiers want us. Our soldiers would like for us to give them the means to be able to defend themselves and to defend homeland for some of us. Some of us may not make it, like I said. Some of us will die before Amazonia is realized in its geopolitical framework as it is. But it's worth fighting for. Everything that's nice is worth fighting for. We are here in America because of what it is. So it will happen, and we'll get it. We'll get it together.
That was an amazing contribution there. We're going back into the ground because this is quite important. There are some like Barrister Mesa. I heard him commenting, and he's following this program. We pray for very quick recovery to Barrister Mesa. He should have been a part of this discussion if he was feeling healthy and strong. We're praying that he should gain some power and that the mighty God, who is our creator and a provider of health, will consider that he deserves divine intervention and soon as possible because he's a fighter. He's one of those fighters. We pray that he stays longer and tread this path of the earth as we continue to navigate our way at the home front. He would probably think that we shouldn't talk about certain issues because we are giving relevance to the people who are creating distraction at the home front. I agree with him to some extent, but I also think, that's my opinion, I don't know what you gentlemen think, that sometimes if we do not inform our people, they'll be disinformed either by actions on the ground. And we've seen Capo Daniel a few days ago actually going out clear to claim responsibility for the second time, uh, killing a civilian. This can turn the people, the population. That's what Cameroon wants. It's either he's working for Cameroon or he's a practical dog that is really dull. But that's not what we want to talk about. Intelligence has it. I'm sure you have a better information on this than me, SOS. Intelligence has it that General Blink and the others in the ground were involved in the arrest of the CPDM officials, so-called arrest or kidnapped, if I would say. Money has changed hands, and these individuals have been released. How were they released is something that we need to know. Some school of thought is saying that it's not actually, it is just is their romance. Remember, Frundi cried out during those elections, or should I say selections. Frundi cried out and said that they are actually allowing the CPDM to go into the field to vote. The ADF is strategically letting CPDM to go on the field and do some voting, while the SDF is being blocked from entering Momo. A few days ago, we reported with Undaunted the new CPDM appointee, who is the SDO of Momo, or is it the DO of Momo in Bengui, is sealing shops, pressure on our people, and the so-called ADF, who has the ability to arrest or kidnap, and their allies are doing nothing about it. We still have a colonial administrator, a civilian, selling shops in Bond Market because our people will be having ghost towns. So there is pressure on our people as we speak to make sure that there should be no ghost town. This has happened before, but we're asking ourselves, how did you allow the CPDM to conduct their elections, if at all they did any elections? How can you allow an uncircumcised Philistine to go and block the shops of our people because they are respecting, but you're unable to stop a colonial administrator on the field? So this is a great concern, which I think is worthy for discussion at this given moment when Ambazonians are worried about why Momo and Mezam is still being a ground where the enemy and the enemy sister forces are continuously inflicting pain on our people. Please, I should start with you, Barrister Fro.
Well, Paddy, before I say anything, I would like to express my surprise that I'm seeing pictures of Momo county marshals. I didn't even know that Momo had county marshals.
Let me not interrupt you. Those are actually the coup. Remember, General Blink left the IG and followed Jackson, the coup brothers. And intelligence has it. You know, some credence should be given to Momo, but I also think that Momo leadership can learn something because Momo invested a lot of money on the ground. Jackson, that was because we cannot just criticize Momo leadership 100%. You must have the equal information to. Momo invested money on the ground. Ambazonians deserve to know this and bought heavy weapons. The weapons you just saw there were financed by Momo County. And you know to have that, you know, I cannot say it more than you, Comrade. But now Jackson, whom we know is working, is a coup plotter and working for Cameroon. They had their ways with the ADF, and these weapons were taken. We know that fighters lost their lives. We are also told, I'm just giving information, we're also told that some authorities within Momo said nothing aggressive should be done either to the ADF or some of these forces because they are brothers. It's kind of concerning during war to put emotions when we have the same forces that have killed the restoration forces in Momo. And so maybe they want to learn some lessons. It's important. It's not a discussion necessarily for us to get involved today. But I'm just giving you a background information so that you can understand what is happening. I understand that in war, anybody that's an enemy is neutralized. In fact, Cho Ayaba, in his attempt to force himself on Amazonians, took it a duty to eliminate any flyer that is loyal to President Sako on the home front. If he could not convince you, he just eliminated you. How did it happen? This is a question that I hope to ask a Momo official one day if it is true. How could you people be even thinking that there should be a frolicking and romancing between some Momoans loyal to Cho Ayaba and those forces because they are sons of Momo? That is the most foolish thing I've ever heard. I just wanted to give you this
Thank you. Let me
information.
continue by saying,
Yes,
in
please.
every revolution, those in amongst us who are aiding and abetting the enemy, who are fighting alongside the enemy to and against the interests of that revolution, there are worse enemies than the enemy itself. Therefore, SOS Zama stands a better chance of answering this question, but I think that, in my humble opinion, I think that we cannot only go after the enemy, we must go also after the enemy collaborators. I don't see any reason why Colonel Mbankwi would buy arms and give to SDF, to ADF, finance ADF, get even some B officers to be fighting along to be embedded in the ADF, and we are not taking the enemy, the ADF as an enemy forces and go after them just like we go after La Republique. I still cannot understand. Look at Mugamo. Mugamo is a shadow of itself, because the political elites of Mugamo have taken the position that, oh, they are our brothers. We cannot fight our brothers. And look at where Momo is now.
Pastor Kosi, I'm trying to believe that that is not true. I'm trying to think that that's a misinformation. But I will definitely ask this question to authorities. If that is true, the leader that has that mentality should consider a retreat, because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Because the enemy,
That's
the
the
brain
most
of
foolish, that's the
the
most foolish idea in this whole world.
because when this fight started,
Um,
Mogamo was at the forefront. Mogamo restoration forces were the strongest we had on the ground. Today, Mogamo is a shadow of itself.
I think we should
Just
start.
because for some reason which I'm
okay,
still to find out,
Pastor Fro,
they,
we have to start. Pastor Fro, the vice president just sent a word now that we have to start.
okay,
Sorry, I didn't see. I just saw that now. I think
all
we'll
right,
have to start. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be stopping the stream on Facebook so that the 50s of you watching on Facebook would join the president in the Zoom meeting. Chief of Staff, the floor will be all yours right after this. I really wish SOS Zama would have reacted to this situation, but we'll have that discussion next week and you'll be a part of the panel. Thank you very much and stay tuned. Maybe you want to have this as we use to transition. Thank you very much.
In our editorial of tonight, we'll look at why the federal government draft is superlatively imperative. The interim government during the start of this year of acceleration told the nation of Amazonia that this is the winning phase and that was the code for the new strategy. This year, unlike in the past, the interim government thought that the draft initiative should be done slightly different. The federal government draft was introduced and one would like to ask, what was or is the rationale behind this whole idea? That's what we seek to do, but first of all, it is incumbent upon us to walk you through where it all started and where we are today. The federal government draft during its debut on Saturday, February 25th, saw the Savannah launching with a wavering support from all the other zones and counties, possibly because of a misunderstanding of the concept. But by the time the interim government was being hosted by the Midland and the Atlantic zones, the concept would have been clear to many, as it had gained ascendance in the hearts of many more stakeholders and donors. In the long and short of the concept behind the federal government draft, the new idea is aimed to mobilize and to centralize resources so as to minimize proliferation within the very diversified efforts of shared governance of the Amber Peace Plan. From our observation, we do understand that some may wish to sell the opinion that the federal government is trying to concentrate power or establish control. Contrary to this assumptive rhetoric from a few that might have caused disbelief or dragging feet, the federal government draft has proven within the past 3 months to be a tremendous enhancement of the Amber Peace Plan that was badly punctured by coup plotters. Now, with a very strict objective to harness an executive federal government's feasible project, revamp and re-strategize the troops across the entire national territory, we have seen a remarkable redoubling of firepower on the home front thus far. Prior to this time, the well-focused interim government had started dismantling the Franco-Cameroon hegemony through the creation of local government areas, 61 local government areas in 13 counties, then zoning off the entire territory as follows: the Savannah Zone, comprising Boyo, Dongamatung, Menchum, Buyi and Ngoketunja counties, the Midland Zone comprising of Mezam, Momo, Lebialem, and Manu counties, and the Atlantic Zone made up of Kupema Nenguba, Meme, Ndian, and Fako counties. We all know the achievements before the unfortunate sponsored coup. Let's take a look again on the very essence of the draft, what Don Wannabe, the Lord of the Realms, calls the Amber War Draft Manifesto. The Amber War Draft is the citizens' contract, the patriots' pledge, the fighters' covenant, the victims' appeal, and the people's mandate to defend the statehood of Amazonia with any and every weapon of consequence against the expansionist and occupationist regime of French Cameroons. The Amber War Draft is a sacred nationhood survival ritual besides other signature revolutionary programs and slogans initiated by the leadership of President Samuel Sako of the interim government of Amazonia. Amongst other things, the Amber War Draft is a national bond to furnish the Amazonian liberation struggle with all the material requirements and necessities by way of responsibility sharing. 1. The Amber War Draft is Amazonia's liberation contract between the people and their political destiny. 2. It's the patriots' sacred vow undertaken to free Amazonia of all forms of unjust, illegitimate, and illegal occupation. 3. It is a solemn confession to end the state of political annexation and subjugation in the Cameroons. 4. It's a commitment by citizens and households to engage in the process of self-rule and independence. 5. The Amber War Draft is a mandate to fulfill the wishes and aspirations of the people of Amazonia in their determination to re-establish their statehood. 6. It's one of the symbols of collective sacrifice aimed towards the protection of the Commonwealth and cultural heritage of the joint political estate of the former British Southern Cameroons. 7. The Amber War Draft is a political ritual for nationhood survival, identity evolution, and consciousness revival. 8. It is a patriot's pledge to undo enemy decrees of tyranny and oppression in Amazonia. 9. It is a fighter's covenant to pay the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. 10. It's an expression of legitimacy symbolized in the mandate to deploy all lawful and acceptable means to liberate the people. 11. It's the occasion to share with the people suffering and misery. 12. Is the moment to covenant oneself with the fighter's sacrifices. 13. It's one of the revolutionary keys and passwords to the realm of the Supreme National Order of Honors. 14. It's a call to arms to all able and willing Amazonians to engage the common enemy with every available means. 15. It is the victim's appeal to the conscience of humanity. 16. The Amber War Draft is a war cry for sons and daughters of Amazonia. 17. It is a testament to the people's faith and backing of the interim government. 18. It's the absolute and final resolve by a people to join the civilized league of free-thinking societies. 19. The Amber War Draft is a shoulder-to-shoulder, hand-to-hand brotherhood of burden sharing for humanity. 20. It's a justice motto and freedom slogan for Amazonians. 21. It's a delicate war tradition to unleash the righteous power of victory against ordinances of servitude. 22. The War Draft is a competence and capacity building platform to enhance forces of self-defense. On this most sensitive occasion each year, the leadership of Amazonia rallies all sons and daughters on the strength of a special message under the war jingle to prepare in body and spirit to be one with the restoration fighters at the home front. The people attend their duties, fulfilling wartime obligations with pledges of material values and bridges of human endeavors. The ritual begins and ends with one article, which is the political survival and defense of Amazonia as an independent English-speaking nation. What's more to say? Draft and draft and draft until we drop, like the president said. Well, with that, we've come to the end of this article and the end of our editorial for tonight. If you want more of such article, kindly visit our website at www.abcambertv.com for more. Subscribe, become a club member, and a part of this winning strategy. Find our payment details on your screen. I am reporting for Undaunted ABC Amber TV.